Friday. The time of the day we've all said is arbitrarily the time of day where we all smoke. Woo! Welcome. Don't worry, we'll still start with our customary dab, but this time I was smart enough to actually remember to blow up the volcano bag before I started the stream. Getting professionalized. We are getting professionalized. Hello, Stephanie. How are you doing on this Friday? Joey Riolano says, good evening. Welcome, Joey. Thanks for joining us. Hope you are doing well. Wherever you are in this strange little world we've got. I got destroyed in Civilization yesterday, so if anybody was anxiously awaiting the details of the that Civilization match, you can know that the Scythian army, well, it failed to live up to the hype. Fuck you, horse archers. You are not as scary as people make you out to be. Roxy R says, right back at you. Well, thanks, Roxy R. Thanks for joining us. And then we've got Dylan McRoberts, who says, big fan, man. Well, thanks, Dylan McRoberts. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure if I knew you IRL, I'd be a big fan of yours, too. Stephanie says she's good. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Again, thank you for spending your Friday evening with us. That's really cool. Christopher. Christopher says, what's up, Doobid? First time I've ever been called Doobid before. Quite like it. Says, good to see you back. Baking on a brownie. Ooh, well, that sounds like fun. And, Christopher, I noticed that today is the first day that you said that you're joining us, but you did not let us know that you're joining us from San Diego today. So I'm just going to let everybody else know in case they didn't. I'm still paranoid that I have something in my teeth. I say that because I just did coming out of the first half of the review of my very first RSO. Jesus, I'm really terrified that there's like a big glob of black there. Yes, my first RSO that I've ever done / reviewed, both at the same time. Just did this moments ago. Although it is one of the few reviews I've had to stop and restart in the middle because I was not expecting this shit to come out like super glue. It is not like any other tincture I've ever tried. It does tell you to try this sublingually, which seems foolish to me. I don't know how you would ever accomplish getting it. Oh my god, I've got some more of this gross oil on me. This shit, as I said, like super glue. Oh my god, it's just gonna stick forever. Anyways, tried doing it like a tincture, like it said, under my tongue. Didn't come out right, so I kind of was like, oh, what's going on? Extracted it just to see a big giant ball of tar land right on my lip and teeth. It took forever to get off, and now I've got it on my hands, and they're going to be sticky for a long time. It's basically like I just took as a tincture that gross resin that you get in your bong after you haven't cleaned it out for like a month or whatever, and it gets that disgusting resin buildup that if you get on your hands, good luck getting it off unless you use like 99% proof isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, and that went down my system. And I hope I got it all out of my teeth because it was like getting tar in here. Weird. Anyways, Trapping Hardcore. Music reference says, do you think the world is a simulation? Trapping Hardcore. Ooh, you want to go right for the good stuff right from the get-go. The answer, Trapping Hardcore, is no. I do not think we live in a simulation. Is it because I think that is an outlandish theory? No, it's very plausible and reasonable to believe that we might be living in a simulation. However, I do not believe we are living in a simulation because if you want to remove the layer of abstraction from the argumentation or from the argument of why we're in a simulation, there is a layer of abstraction. There is an even easier thing to believe that requires less assumptions, and that's that you're just a Boltzmann brain. My favorite hobby horse in the entire world are Boltzmann brains. Boltzmann brains. I mean, I'm sure I've talked about them on streams before, but that's what I'm convinced that I actually am, is that I am nothing at all. I wish I had the stability of an artificial simulation run by some advanced species somewhere, but it is much more likely that I am just a collection of basically atoms and I'm a quantum fluctuation in the vacuum of space that popped into existence and then will pop right back out of existence. Now what you're saying is, how can that be true? I have all these memories. I know all these people. That is one way of looking at it, or the other way of looking at it is your entire existence is what you are able to conceive in this exact single moment. All those things that you have in your mind are just constructs, and now you're gone. Now what you're saying is, well, what about all those memories that I had? Well, you don't really have all those memories. You only have the ones that you can actually mine at any given point, that you're actually recollecting at any one point, and all of those could very well be just a random quantum fluctuation in the vacuum of space that literally pops into existence for a Planck length, the shortest amount of time that one can measure before fluctuating out of existence again. And I mean, that's all thoughts are anyways, is just a collection of potassium and sodium molecules and some electrical pulses between them, and it's very easy to we do know that in a quantum world things can and do pop in and out of existence literally all the time, usually not on a classical scale, but it doesn't require a classical scale object to be something that has a momentary idea of sensation and memory. It doesn't require, anything over, an atom is, of course, a classical object. Let's not get too much into physics here, but what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be a Boltzmann brain, that the idea that it's a brain is an abstract, well, that in of itself is an abstraction. It's it's just to help you understand, but you're not a brain in the vacuum of space. You're just a loose collection of quarks that for some reason have coalesced into such a way that believes that it's such a thing as a person, that has such a thing as a history, that thinks it can feel and touch and taste, but it really can't. You're just a fluctuation, and then the next exists section, or in the next moment you're gone. That's what reality really is. We're all, and by we're all, there is no all. That obviously is already an incorrect way to frame it. There is no all. There is nothing. There is nothingness. There is only quantum fluctuations, and one of those fluctuations happen to arrange in such a way to say, oh shit, I'm live streaming to a bunch of people on a social media platform, but now gone again. Long answer. Don't believe I'm in a simulation. Believe I'm a Boltzmann brain. Kind of really, kind of not really. But it doesn't matter anyways, because, if you're a Boltzmann brain... Anyways, great question. Mad Crypto says, smoked weed. And then we've got, welcome, by the way, Mad Crypto says, Shane Fallon says, shout out, please. Well, there you go, Shane. Rhode Island Hiker. Welcome back, Mr. Hiker, or Mrs. Hiker, or Ms. Hiker, or Ms. Hiker. By the way, did you guys know that there is a distinction between Miss and Ms? I shit you not. Like for cereal, there is a distinction between those two things. The term Miss and Ms. Between MS period and MISS. Those are distinct things. Those are not the same thing. It's strange. The first time I heard it, I didn't believe it, but it's true. Okay, Kyle Davis says, me and my family love your vids. Much love from Canada. Well, thanks, Kyle. The whole family. That's so great to hear, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in on this Friday. Shane Fallon says he is both crossfaded and he is smoking fake carts. Be careful with those, my friend. They're less dangerous than they were a year ago, but I'd say they're not entirely out of the woods. Just be careful. You're taking your health into risk there, but to each their own. Mad Crypto MX says, stuck in a sticky situation. Mad Crypto, what kind of... Oh, that maybe you're referring to the RSO situation, which was a sticky situation that I was stuck in. A gross sticky situation. Although I'd say it's working from the amount of ranting I just did about Boltzmann brains. Probably, when I get very high, I tend to like to talk about Boltzmann brains. It's fun. I actually just got to talk about determinism the other day. Like literally 2 nights ago, I got to talk about determinism. I am a thorough determinist, down to my bones. I'm a complete determinist. I don't believe there's such a thing as free will, free choice. You don't make any decisions. Everything is going to happen as it was going to happen. Now, I know what you're saying. My Newtonians out there, my classical boys are saying, I feel you, dog. I feel you. Yeah, life's nothing but a galactic scale, universal scale billiards table. Big Bang hit, all those particles went in motion. Bing, bang, boom, everything's going to happen. Trajectories. Laplace's demon, the starting conditions of the universe. According to Newton, if you knew the way every particle started at the inception of the universe, you could literally chart the universe second by second, moment by moment, from beginning to end. You could read it like a map, just by knowing the initial conditions. But we know we don't live in a Newtonian world. We don't live in a classical world. That's not the way things operate. Life is not a billiards table. We live in a quantum world. We live in a world where there is uncertainty is baked into the very fiber of our existence. Uncertainty. So I know what you're saying out there. You're saying, well, if uncertainty, if randomness is the guiding principle of life, how can there be determinism? How can everything already be on a path? How can if there is no order to things, how can things be determined already? Well, just because things are random does not in any way make it that give you any kind of ability to have changed or to injected free will in there in any way, shape, or form. Your branch of the waveform, like the way the quantum world works, is every time any particle splits off at any point, anywhere, at any time, another world forms. Many worlds hypothesis of quantum mechanics. I am so high that I'm talking about this. Oh my god. But this is so great. It's so great that I get to talk about. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Even if you understand that we live in a totally quantum world where uncertainty is truly baked into the nature of reality, which it is, that is factually 100% correct. But that does not mean that free will exists. It just means that you are on that branch of the waveform splitting that happened to be, that went down that path, that, but you never chose that. It's just that's the way your waveform collapsed in that moment. But there was no choice there. There was no decision, and there's no reason to assume that it wasn't always going to collapse that way. So yeah, it doesn't matter which way you interpret physics. I mean, there really is only one way, the quantum way. I mean, classical works on many ways until you get very small, or also very, very big, or very, very hot, or very, very pressure, which is really something's hot. But Jesus, yeah, sorry, that was a long rant. That Rick Simpson oil, disgusting, like glue, but it works. Wow. Where are we at here on the chat? Trapping Hardcore says, good point. Don't remember what that was referred to. Maybe in the simulation question. Then the Pecan Tree. Welcome, Pecan Tree. I'm going to say pecan. I don't know. We'll find out which one we land on every time. Says, what's the difference? Ha. I guess, not sure what that's in relation to. Been ranting for a while. Very sorry. Let me know what your question is again. Happy to answer it. Trapping Hardcore says, I had the best edible last night. It was a chill chocolate bar, 200 milligrams CBD, 100 milligram THC, and it was insane. He had never felt so high since he first started smoking. That sounds wonderful, man. I'm glad you had such a pleasant experience. Used to eat a lot of chill chocolate, but I haven't seen them around as much in a while. I know they're still out there, still pretty big, but the places I haunt just don't stock them as much. Only ever did their THC stuff, but I usually thought it was pretty good. And I'm glad to see you had such a spectacular experience. Odin says, not going to lie, saw the title and legit thought it was 420. If only. Well, it's almost 420 times 2, which is 840, which is really September 10th. We'll call September 10th 422, and then we'll do a celebration. So we're close to September 10th, but not that close. So really, Odin's no excuse, but charming nonetheless. Odin's also says, I barely partake, minus an edible before bed, but I love what you do. Well, thanks, Odin's. I really appreciate you saying that, man. And then Trapping Hardcore says, do you like Tame Impala? And the answer is, I should. I look like the type, right? They seem like my kind of music of my era. I barely know Tame Impala, other than that I should know Tame Impala. Bradley Fouch says, hey buddy, I'm glad I caught you this time. I always miss the streams, but I'm out of weed, and he's waiting on his dude to get more. Dankrupt! Oh, I am so sorry. One of the worst feelings, sensations in the world is that sensation of being dankrupt in an illegal area, especially on a Friday night. Bradley, I know this wasn't going to do you any good. I sincerely don't mean it to rub it in, but I do mean, though, in a heartfelt way, this next dab, I'm going to finish this bag. This dab, this penance dab, this one's for you, my friend. So, Trapping Hardcore, are you a Tame Impala fan? Are you a trap music fan? When it comes to music, that old canard, I might not know art, but I know what I like. Is that what it is? It's true for me with music. I'm not much of a music, don't have a very broad knowledge base of music. Don't have a very broad appreciation of music. I pretty much like the few things that I like. I'm not a hater or anything. It's just music is the art form that I spend the least amount of time sort of enjoying, or the mainstream art form that I sort of indulge the least in. I listen to so much audio. I'm an audio nut, but I never listen to music. I'm always listening to audiobooks or podcasts, so on and so forth. Just was more into music when I was, college age, decade ago now. Did the music festivals and concerts, but just, yeah. Maybe it's what happens to everybody when they hit the ripe old age of 30. Okay, Bradley. I've got a I've got a dab for you. Trapping Hardcore says, "What food do you like to munch on?" And he is a huge Tame Impala fan. Trapping Hardcore, good question. This is going to be another unsatisfying answer, I'm afraid. I have more or less totally transcended the munchies. For me, doing weed and being hungry, are just divorced from one another. They're not really. I can't say that I don't get hungrier when I'm high, but not to the degree that they're like craving for food or that I like mindlessly eat stuff. Not so much. I mean, there was a period of time where that was definitely more of the case, but it's been a while. That being said, if I am going to eat something while I'm high, things with a lot of flavor, candies, just stuff that's bad for you. But I guess, yeah, I don't have a particular like go-to snack for being high. Not, at least not anymore. Yeah, it is kind of great though once you totally get over the munchies and you no longer have that sort of overwhelming desire to eat everything in front of you constantly. It's kind of a satisfying feeling, like where it's just like, yeah, sure, things taste better, flavors are more intense, but I'm not just zombified throwing Doritos down my mouth or whatever the hell. 13 says, eating kills his buzz. I've heard that is true for others. Others seem to need to have some food in their stomach to get high. It's such a weird thing how different or idiosyncratic the getting high experience can be for people. Blemzer, what's up, my friend? So glad you're here. We're going to go do a quick dab for our friend Bradley Fouch, who is currently bankrupt at the moment. So this one's for you. Oh God, do I have a lighter here? Oh dear Lord. Oh, it's right here. We almost had a huge fart up. Okay, whenever I get back, I'm happy to. Anybody wants to throw out a topic, I'll riff happily for a long time. Otherwise, you're about to get some kind of rant or scree on something that's going to be way less interesting than whatever it is that you can come up with. Okay, dab time. We'll give it a few seconds here to do its arbitrary cool-off period before we dive in. And before we do this here, started Fall Guys. Finally played my first rounds of Fall Guys just earlier today. Anyways, here we go. Our Dankrupt friend. Ooh, couldn't hold it. Woo! Strong, strong, strong. Dang. Wow, that was bigger than I intended to do. Fun. Wow, okay. I need to take a break from any more weed for a while. I am too high already. Too high already. This Rick Simpson oil, incredibly disgusting delivery mechanism. But damn, is it, I can see now why people spoke so highly of the formulation of RSO. Shit. Okay. Dathy, I'm so sorry. I don't know if I probably learned how to say it, pronounce it correctly. I have already forgotten. My apologies. Welcome back. Says, the edibles effect, the edibles high affects my taste buds. Some food tastes different and is not as appealing. Huh. Now that is another new one to me. That's the first time I've heard heard that somebody's taste buds have been altered by doing edibles. Again, not surprised. The many ways that being high seems to express itself in people never seems to surprise me. And my obliviousness to most of those additional sort of effects is astounding, because most of them just don't hit me as well, or pronouncedly, markedly. Some word. Vocabulary's going. Blemzer says, take one for me too. Taking a long but overdue tea break on his 5th day. I didn't know that earlier. 5th day of a tea break. How long are you going for, Blemzer? Are you going for a week, or are you going for like the whole 2 week? Anyways, congrats to you. It's nice when you can do it. It's satisfying. There is for me a pronounced effect sometimes when doing the tolerance breaks. I'm really interested in the curve, like where the sort of perfect number of days or weeks or whatever, to where on that curve of like number of days off to decreased tolerance do you want to get? Because they're diminishing returns, obviously. Like, you're going to have a bigger, your tolerance is going to be way decreased if you've abstained for 1 week, and then the difference between week 1 and week 2 will be quite a bit different. Your tolerance won't have decreased as much from week 1 to week 2 as it did from week 0 to week 1. It's not like a linear relationship like that. There's a pronounced sort of decreasing effect. And I wonder, for the average person, what would be like that perfect amount of days? Is it 5 days? Is it 10 days? Is it 2 weeks? Where do you get your best hit for like, okay, is it? My guess is it's probably about a week is where the diminishing returns start to take over the benefits of waiting or abstaining another day, 2 or 3 or whatever. But I don't know that for sure. I haven't experimented enough to know. But I have abstained enough for 1 to 2 week intervals to know that there is a substantial difference between week 1 and week 2. It was a very long, convoluted response, and not very cogent as well. I realized even when saying it, I wasn't making a whole lot of sense. I apologize. Alex B says, "What's up? I'm new here." Well, welcome, Alex B. We're so glad you're here. Luke says, "Hey, did you ever take shrooms?" I have taken shrooms on one occasion. Yes, just one occasion. Didn't do really much of anything for me. I'm never sure if it was the power of suggestion or not. It seemed to have some slight mind expanding elements to it, but nothing too strong. Which is unfortunate because I did a lot of shrooms, and the people I did it with did less and felt substantial effects. I just don't think, unfortunately, traditional hallucinogenics have much of an effect on me. I've done LSD, I don't know, 3-4 times, something like that. And while it has had a noticeable mind expanding effect, like making new connections, seeing things in a different way, not physically, not with like actual visual distortions, but being able to make new mental connections, which is really satisfying and really great, but not anything like what anybody would describe as tripping, even though, again, people I did it with were, just they don't affect me in that same way for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. But I would love to experience it that way. I would love to do LSD again. I mean, I loved just the mind-expanding effects, but the way I've described it in the past is I've never done LSD or shrooms and not been where I wouldn't be confident and comfortable to be like in public. I never felt like, oh man, I couldn't be around other people, or I couldn't pass as not being on mushrooms or something. No, it always just felt like, oh wow, that's interesting. That's so much more interesting. That's so much more interesting. Yeah, mind expanding things, but not at all anything that would be socially even sort of disturbing to others, or like, yeah, or even make me would want me to cause me to feel like uncomfortable around the presence of others, or that my behavior would be make others uncomfortable. Nothing to that effect. I mean, I'd be totally fine, like, every time I have tried acid, eating at a restaurant and having a conversation with people around me and not feeling weirded out at all, is how competent I felt on them. Which is not my intention. I did not go in hoping for that. It's just bizarre. I know I've litigated this so many times on these live streams. So many people obviously have questions about hallucinogens. And I really wish I could have better answers and more experiences to share, because I have no problems at all with the idea of using hallucinogenics recreationally, if used responsibly, and especially therapeutically. But in my admitted limited experiences, half a dozen times under the umbrella of hallucinogenics completely, in totality, they just haven't had an incredibly pronounced effect on me. But I would love to continue to try. I just don't know where to find them. I'm kind of a square. So, If I had somebody reliable, I would be willing to push the boundaries more, try more to experience more, but unfortunately just don't have currently the opportunities for that. But would love to rectify it. Okay. Long answer to your question, Luke Grady, but I appreciate it. Aztec. Welcome, Aztec. I'm more of a Mayan guy myself, but you know, Aztecs are cool. You know, we all know to hate those Incas. Says, anyone ever get long-term sore throat from THC vape oil? I don't think I've ever had a long-term sore throat. There have been times where I've had or got pretty bad coughs for a while and stopped because I've had coughs. But if you're having a long-term sore throat because you've been vaping a lot, I would recommend stopping. It's not worth it. That goes quadruply, doubly, 100 million times percent more true if you aren't in a legal state purchasing your carts from a reputable market. If you don't know where they come from, definitely do not do it. Even if they're not making your sore throat, you should be really hesitant. But if your throat is long-term sore, just stop for now. Wait till your throat heals and decide if it's worth it again. In the meantime, there are edibles, tinctures, other things you can do. But I don't also want to be some paternalistic asshole telling you what to do for your own sake. Just, you know, don't do anything permanently damaging to yourself would be my advice. And that's all I can say. Okay, 13 says, that is the biggest pair of stain underwear I've ever seen. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it took me a while to find a pair of underpants that large. They're not a common size, but I can tell you, even though the underpants didn't fit, the shit stain I was still able to produce all by myself. Didn't require any external help. That is all Maduki, even though the underpants are like maybe half a size too large for me. I was still able to fill out that logo. Blumser says, I'm trying a month. Oh, a month for the tolerance break. Good luck, my friend. That is a long amount of time. I wish you luck. I did it once, Blimser. I actually documented it way back in like the first year of Wheats. I did a month-long tolerance break and kind of like did little vlogs, I guess, from the middle of it, just talking about what it was like. It was a dumb project, but it was fun. If you're curious, you should check it out. I'm sure you can find it on the archive somewhere. But yeah, I did like a 30-day tolerance break just like you, and found it was real nice after 30 days. So I wish you all the best. And with that, guys, I am afraid I am going to have to take off again. I know it's been another super short live stream, but had to come in and say hello while doing this RSO. But I got to get back to finishing that up, taking care of some last-minute projects. And then in the meantime, I'm really thinking about doing some game streaming for Reels next week. The aforementioned Fall Guys, maybe playing some Animal Crossing, just laying back. Let me know what you think, what you might be interested in seeing. If you want to play some games together, what we could play. Has to be very low-key, something that doesn't require a lot of brain power, that I can talk and hang out. But if you have some ideas for stuff you want to see, let me know. And with that, I'm going to have to take off this RSO. Pretty cool. Look for this review sometime in the future. It may be a bit before it gets released, but it'll be out. And you can know, hey, I was there in the middle of it. and you can pat yourselves on the back. I don't know why you would, but you should. And with that, everyone have a great weekend. I'll see you guys back here for our next live stream, review, all that fun stuff. Stay high, stay healthy. Abit Azin. That's bad. Don't say German. Wait, Germans are great. I mean,